There is a fire that burns beyond the senses, beyond the mind, beyond the very fabric of reason. It is not a fire that destroys, but one that purifies. It does not consume in anger, nor does it leave behind ashes of regret. This fire is Bhakti, the flame of devotion that has guided countless seekers through the darkness of the world, leading them to the light of the divine. For centuries, sages and mystics have spoken of Bhakti as the most effortless, yet the most profound path. Unlike paths that demand rigorous discipline or intellectual mastery, Bhakti asks for only one thing: surrender. Not surrender in weakness, but surrender in love, in trust, in the recognition that the soul is not separate from the divine, but eternally bound to it. In the ancient texts, Krishna speaks of this path with a clarity that cuts through all doubts. He does not call for renunciation of life, but renunciation of the ego. He does not ask for knowledge, but for love, pure and untainted. Bhakti is not about worshiping from afar. It is about dissolving the illusion of distance itself. If these words awaken something within you, write in the comments, "I open my heart to the fire of devotion." And if you have not yet subscribed, join this journey of wisdom and transformation. Like this video and help spread this message of light. The path of Bhakti has no fixed road. It does not demand temples or rituals. It does not require grand gestures or sacred chants. It asks only for sincerity. A single whisper of love, a single moment of surrender is enough to ignite the soul. The great saints of Bhakti, Mirabai, Tukaram, Chaitanya, were not scholars. They were lovers of the divine, souls who burned so brightly with devotion that their presence transformed the very air around them. But what is this love? It is not the love of the world which fluctuates, which comes and goes like the tides. The love of Bhakti is a current that never ceases. It is not limited by conditions, nor is it bound by reason. It exists beyond the reach of the intellect, in the silent knowing of the heart. The devotee does not worship because they seek reward. They do not love because they expect something in return. They love because love itself is the answer. Bhakti dissolves all boundaries, all separations, all fears. It asks for nothing, yet gives everything. There is a story of a sage who asked Krishna, "What is the truest form of devotion?" Krishna smiled and pointed to a simple woman, a common villager with no knowledge of scriptures, no practice of penance, no wealth to offer at temples. But within her heart, she carried a love so deep, so unwavering, that even the gods bowed before her. This is Bhakti, not measured by words or actions, but by the depth of feeling within. To step into the fire of devotion is to let go of all pretenses, all doubts, all questions. It is to see the divine not as an external force, but as the very essence of being. It is to recognize that love is not something to be attained, but something that already exists within, waiting to be realized. Bhakti does not ask whether you are worthy. It does not demand perfection. It calls to all regardless of who they are or where they stand in life. A king in his palace, a beggar on the streets, a scholar in his study, a child at play, all are equally welcome in the embrace of devotion. The fire of bhakti burns away everything that is false. It reveals only what is real. And what is real is love, unchanging, eternal, boundless. To walk the path of bhakti is to dissolve into something greater than oneself. It is to lose all sense of separation and become one with the object of devotion. The great poet saints spoke of this dissolution in the most profound ways. Mirabai, lost in her love for Krishna, abandoned the world without hesitation. For her, no wealth, no honor, no comfort could compare to the sweetness of surrender. She wandered the earth, singing his name, unshaken by the scorn of society. What force is this that can make a person renounce all for the mere thought of the divine? It is not a force of reason, nor a force of logic. It is a calling from the soul itself, a recognition that nothing in this world is more real than love. Bhakti is not an escape. It is not the denial of life, but the deepest embrace of its truest essence. It is to see the divine not as an idea, but as the very heartbeat of existence. Many fear bhakti, thinking it demands too much, thinking it will strip them of their identity. But the paradox is this: bhakti does not take away, it gives. It does not make one empty, it makes one whole. The ego resists, for it fears its own dissolution. It clings to control, to pride, to the illusion of self-sufficiency. But in the presence of bhakti, the ego melts like ice before the sun. And what remains is something infinite, something beyond words. If these words resonate with you, write in the comments, "I surrender to the divine." Let your voice join the chorus of those who walk this sacred path. Like this video and share it, so that others may also awaken to the fire of devotion. The sages say that bhakti is the simplest of all paths, yet the most profound. No complex philosophies are needed, no endless debates, no rigid austerities. All that is required is a heart willing to love. But to love truly is not as easy as it seems. The world teaches us to guard our hearts, to trust cautiously, to measure affection carefully. But bhakti asks for complete openness. It asks for a love so deep that nothing remains of the self except devotion. To love in this way is to let go of all conditions. It is to love even in suffering, even in loss, even when the divine seems distant. The great devotees did not love because their prayers were answered. They loved even when faced with silence, even when the world turned against them, even when all seemed lost. Their devotion was not a bargain. It was their very nature. The fire of bhakti burns away everything but the essential. It does not leave behind fear or pride or doubt. It leaves only love. This is why the path of bhakti is often misunderstood. It appears too simple, too emotional, too irrational. but it is beyond all categories. It is neither mere feeling nor blind faith. It is a knowing that surpasses reason, a certainty deeper than any philosophy. Imagine standing before a vast ocean. You can study it, analyze its waves, measure its depth. Or you can dive in and be embraced by its infinite expanse. Bhakti is the dive. It is the leap beyond thought, beyond hesitation, beyond all limitations of the mind. It is to be carried by something greater than oneself, to trust completely in the current of divine love. And yet, even though bhakti is simple, the mind resists. It questions. It hesitates. It fears losing control. The ego whispers, "Hold back. Do not surrender. Keep something for yourself." But those who truly enter the fire of devotion know that the greatest joy comes not from holding on, but from letting go. To love with bhakti is to live without fear. It is to walk through life knowing that nothing can be taken away, because nothing was ever truly separate to begin with. It is to see the divine in all things, in every face, in every breath, in every moment. It is to recognize that love is not something one gives or receives. It is what one is. The sages say that bhakti is not just a path, it is the destination. The devotee does not seek to reach God, for in love they realize they were never apart to begin with. It is not a journey outward, but a return home, a remembering of what was always there. Bhakti is not about seeking, it is about seeing. Seeing the divine in all things. Seeing love in all moments. Seeing that the fire of devotion does not burn outside of us, but within. And when we recognize this, the illusion of separation fades, and only the sacred remains. Bhakti is not a mere sentiment. It is not just an emotion that rises and falls like the tides. It is a force that burns away all illusion, a fire that leaves nothing but truth. This is why the great bhaktas, the saints and poets of devotion, spoke not of attachment, but of surrender. To love the divine is not to seek possession, but to dissolve into that love completely, to become one with it. And yet, surrender is not weakness. It is not defeat. It is the highest strength, the deepest wisdom. The mind struggles, always wanting to understand, to control, to define. But bhakti bypasses the mind. It does not ask for understanding. It asks for trust. It does not ask for logic. It asks for the courage to step beyond logic into something greater. To walk the path of bhakti is to embrace a paradox. It is to lose oneself and, in doing so, find oneself more fully than ever before. It is to let go and, in letting go, be held completely. The saints say that in bhakti, the seeker disappears and only love remains. The drop falls into the ocean, and in doing so, becomes the ocean. In the stillness of the night, when all distractions fade, there is a voice that calls from within, a whisper, a longing, an ache that no earthly thing can satisfy. This is the call of bhakti. It is the soul remembering what it has always known. It is the heart yearning for that which it was created to love. And when one finally stops resisting, when one finally surrenders, that love consumes everything. The illusion of separation shatters, and only the beloved remains. If this truth resonates with you, write in the comments, "My heart burns with devotion." Let your words be a spark that ignites the fire of bhakti in others. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message so that more hearts may awaken to the sacred fire of devotion. Bhakti is not bound by place or time. It is not limited to temples or rituals. It does not belong to any one path, any one tradition. It is beyond religion, beyond scripture, beyond all names and forms. It is the song of the soul, calling out to the infinite. It is the force that moves the stars, that causes rivers to flow, that breathes life into all things. Some approach bhakti through prayer, others through song, some through silent contemplation, others through selfless service. There are no rules, no restrictions. Love flows where it wills, finding its own way into the hearts of those who are ready. And when it comes, it asks for everything. It does not accept half measures, does not settle for hesitation. It consumes, transforms, purifies. Many have tried to explain bhakti, to put it into words, to define it. But in truth, it cannot be explained. It can only be experienced. It is like fire. It must be felt to be known. It is like the taste of honey. It cannot be described, only tasted. This is why the sages say that bhakti is both the easiest and the hardest path. Easy, because there are no complex practices, no difficult doctrines. Hard, because it demands the one thing people struggle to give, their whole heart. But those who step into the fire of bhakti do not regret it. They do not look back. For what they receive is beyond anything the world can offer. To live in bhakti is to live in joy, not the fleeting joy of pleasure, but the unshakable joy of union. It is to move through life without fear, for one knows that love is the only reality. It is to see the divine in all things, to hear the beloved's whisper in the rustling of leaves, in the laughter of a child, in the silence between breaths. And when the final moment comes, when the body is left behind, the bhakta does not fear, for they know they were never truly separate. They return to the one they have always loved, the one they have never left. And in that moment, there is no death, no loss, only love. This is the mystery of bhakti. This is the sacred fire of devotion. It burns in every heart. It waits for you to awaken.